Belle takes place with a backdrop of slavery, but I think that there are some really interesting themes in addition to that. Probably most interesting for me is the love story.
Wait.
I was curious.
Quite a task to sit for so many hours.
Of course.
She is so different from anything we've ever seen because her love story takes place with the backdrop of an inheritance that sort of creates this friction with, a woman's autonomy and her own standing and her social standing in society.
Absolutely. I mean, it really was the love story that drew me into the script initially. I think it's such a beautiful, grand and sweeping way of depicting it. And for me, what is so refreshing about Belle's position in society is exactly that. She had an inheritance, so she was actually financially secure. She didn't have to marry for money. She could marry for love.
Right.
And in those days, I mean, that was pretty much unheard of. The marriage market of the time was so ruthless. Everybody was trying to secure their families. It was very political, and as is done to great comedic effect by Miranda Richardson in the film, the men actually need to secure their bread and butter much more than Dido does. And her sister Elizabeth, equally, is desperate to marry, for financial security. So for me, the fact that, Belle is a woman of color and in some ways more privileged, in some ways not more privileged. She had such an ambiguous position in the household, and that provided so many different things that we could explore.
So, now we have two nieces in our guardianship.
Elizabeth was in much need of a companion.
And that is what we shall say when questions are asked.
We shall say that in accordance with her birthright, she is entitled to live beneath this roof. That is the nature of order.
Marriage?
Impossible. Any match her other origins would attract would surely disgrace her and the family's rank.
And when we are no longer here, no husband, who will take care of her then?
You mentioned her relationship with her sister. I think one of the things that it was just poignant and beautiful, and I'd never seen anything like that. The idea that there were these two girls who were raised as ladies in the same household,
Yes.
obvious racial issues, but not in the household, but then in the household.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
There's little known about Belle, but what we do know for sure is that she definitely wasn't allowed to dine with the family when visitors were present. And that's sort of a source of daily humiliation for her. And I think that what we explore here is the nuances of racism. The family loved her, but didn't know how to deal with that conflict of their instinct of loving this little girl, but the social etiquette of the time, which wasn't accepting of her. And so she has to sort of negotiate this being exoticized, and then people are not sure how to respond to her. And for me, that was just such a rich sort of area to explore.
Lupita Nyong'o was recently named as People Magazine's Most Beautiful. Considering the color issues and how far we have to go, can you talk to me a little bit about, your thoughts on that and where we are as a society in terms of like beauty and skin color?
Well, I think it's a great time because I feel like there's a shift going on at the moment, and especially even when I look at the poster of Belle, it's like a woman of color, myself, which is surreal, but front and center of a female-centric film. And I think that questioning again, as the film does, what society's conventional aesthetic of beauty is, and even in the film, they say that every time I see that girl, she becomes more beautiful, and you realize, well, she was always the same girl. It's just you're endowing her with a label. Mm-hmm. And I think, for me, as soon as we can get rid of labels and see people as human beings, that's when we're actually moving forward.
Do you think that it's an advancement to have a dark-skinned woman on the color?
absolutely. You know, I mean, I don't know. I'm not aware. Is she the first?
She is.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So there was Halle Berry and Beyonce prior to her. There's never been a dark-skinned woman of color. on
Right.
that.
Well, I mean, I think that's testament to where things are going, and I think it's really, really exciting.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for a beautiful movie.
Thank you.